Hey, everybody, welcome to Joe's Minibike Reunion podcast. Ed, Season 3, Episode 8.
Yes.
It was a hot one.
Oh, yes. Been hot here.
But we've got the coolest character in the minibike community.
Yeah.
Huh?
We have Ian.
Eian Cordova from CB Minis. Ian rolled down from... Now, you're Hanford...
Hanford is where I actually live.
Hanford. See?
Hanford.
I was on that.
Yep.
And for those who are maybe not as familiar, maybe they're familiar with what? Fresno, Bakersfield area?
Bakersfield.
What is that? Central Cal, right?
Yeah. Visalia is real close too.
Oh, yeah. Systems 1. I remember those guys. So Ian's here. Ian is the winner of the Brad Elsie People's Choice Award for 2017. He brought the goods. It's kind of like a heavyweight champion that when he brings the belt out. You know? I remember.
Does he have to give it up next year?
No.
The next person's going to get another trophy. He
I
doesn't
have
to turn this one in.
I don't quite think we're Stanley Cup material where they do that. But, you know, maybe we were talking about this earlier. Remember, Ian, about how cool it is to have custom trophies?
Yes.
And who was it? Danny that was working on some cool...
Yeah. Actually, he was letting me know earlier today that the Ventura Nationals, which is held on Labor Day weekend, that they're going to have a mini bike actual category. Real simple. Roll your mini bike in. You pay the general admission.
It's cheap, right?
Sure. Yeah, it's like $10, but don't quote me on it.
Yeah. They got to quote you $10, you know.
Where you put your mini bike, and I guess they might have a little award that Danny's going to customize.
Yeah.
So it's pretty cool. I mean, it helps us mini bikers out, you know.
Well, these are nice. This would be what, a traditional trophy, Ed?
Mm-hmm.
Compared to the custom ones. And we've got a couple examples that we've done. But welcome to the podcast, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. Those of you who are either watching it live or maybe you check us out on, what were we talking about, Ed? YouTube? Or our Facebook page, the one that you're currently on. You can Google it or do whatever you'd like. All the back episodes are available. We don't suck as bad as we did on the first one.
Well, that was bad.
Well, actually, 1 through 36 are kind of... Anyways, so we're here. We're live. Ed, do you notice that we've made some changes around here?
Yeah.
What do you see?
Last week they were all down. Now all the sponsors are back up.
All of them, but the big one. Who did we forget?
Pioneer.
So, if we're going to screw up, we might as well do it the right way. Usually, we have a big black. What would you call that? That's a drape with the nice Pioneer logo, and then our table is
Just
typically
a banner, I guess you'd call
so.
it.
I was at a mad dash as you were last week when we were filming Joe's Minibike Reunion, the show, and that's for web, because we have no home, so to speak, for that. Whether it is YouTube or anywhere else, it's just it's a web show. And we're working on that, and we'll talk a little bit about that, Ed. I want to thank some of our other sponsors as you look around. Go-Kart USA, our friends over at Small Engine Cams. For those of you who are listening in and want to send in a question, make sure that you hashtag JMBR and submit your question. We'll pick one out at the break.
Someone had a new shirt coming out?
They did. It was GoPowersports.com.
Go Power Sports. Yeah.
Where's their banner? Oh, look, see? Right there.
It is right there.
Those are pretty nice shirts.
Yeah, they're black shirts, and they're the, I think Jake should have waited. Jake Moe bought one already, which you should do. In fact, I think that there's a discount. If you go to the GoPowersports.com and buy anything, including that shirt, and you ask for a Joe's Minibike Reunion, you save, 10%.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, Bob's the guy over there. He's pretty cool. I like what they're doing there. So we're going to give away a couple of their shirts. It's got that Rat Think style look on a mini bike. It's pretty cool. It's posted on the Facebook page. If you like what you see on the Facebook page, go ahead and like it. Do whatever you do there. Same thing with YouTube. We're nowhere near getting the amount of likes or subscribers that you need to get anything from an ad share. But if you do that kind of stuff, then go ahead and like it or do whatever. We appreciate that. More for the sponsors. Check them out. Studs Power Sports. We'll be giving away a camshaft from Small Engine Cam. Send in your questions, and we'll be giving away a typical, it's like a Black Mamba cam. And then we're going to be... we introduced Going Solo, which was pretty popular last week.
Mm-hmm. A lot of questions.
Yeah, a lot of questions. And Brian from F&B Racing will be doing an edited version of that tonight and calling in after looking at the tech-related questions. And he'll be giving away one of his Stage 1 F&B pipes. Speaking of F&B, boy, that was an eye-opener rolling out to Hesperia.
I was falling asleep there and falling asleep coming back.
When was the first sign that you knew we were in trouble?
In trouble?
Yes. We drove out in Linda's SUV.
Yeah.
You and I and the new producer. You're actually pretty nice to him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you're warming up to him. What's his name?
I don't know.
Come on, say. Maybe it's better. Trevor's his name.
Trevor, that's right.
Yes, I think you went with Travis a couple times, which was all right because it was in that same field. Travis, Trevor, whatever.
Can't remember everyone.
No, especially a producer.
No.
So you, and actually, he's more of a camera guy. Catches video, but I like him. I think
we were in trouble when we were doing Solo's interview.
Okay, now I was going to.
Now that was a handful.
All right, stop there because we'll talk about that and then get right into Ian. Maybe you can show Ian's bike. We had a chance to prop it up there. And I think we even have that T-shirt photo. So we'll also give away a couple of those T-shirts. So we'll give away the cool product. Send in some questions. Send in your comments. I thought that where it's itchy is when we came to we probably 45 minutes, right, Ed? Wasn't it?
Something like that.
Went through the desert, ended up at Hesperia, California, leaving our area is kind of around Pasadena. We got there about 45 minutes, say an hour. Finally got to the nice little town, went through their downtown, made a right, made a left, and then came to that dirt road.
Yeah, I was going to say that too.
Well, why didn't you? Set you right up. The dirt road.
The dirt road.
And it wasn't the dirt road, it was the woman who made the left-hand turn right in front of us on the dirt road. And Frank, I don't know how you live on a dirt road. You'll never see a new
I think
or
that
a
was
clean
like the
car
only dirt
anytime.
road there. The other ones were paved.
But it was worth that dusty trail because we got to F&B and that's where it was happening. And who was there? We had a good crowd.
We had, I don't know, what's his name? Cliff? I think he goes on OMB. His name is Briggs 666.
Chris, you're speaking about, right?
Yeah, I guess
Chris was with Frank. Frank from F&B. We had Brian joined us a little bit later. We had Jake Moe and who else?
His friend.
What's his name? See?
You put me on the spot.
Well,
I don't remember all these names.
Well, you remember Midgie. The other one you'd probably remember. Midgie was with Jake from the Built Minibikes Instagram site. He was there. Midgie was there. And then you.
Well, I was there. I don't know why.
And it got a little, we interviewed 1, 2, 3, 4, at least 4 folks at different times for at least 20 minutes each, right? Trying to capture some footage. We got a chance to take a peek at the Temecula Bob Micro Roberto.
Yes.
That was nice. A little surprise. Jake rolled that out. I don't know if we have photos of that. Oh, that's on the Facebook page. Did you see those, Ian? Did you like the little bike?
Yeah. Looks good.
You can't get hurt when you start with a Temecula Bob anything.
No, I have a Temecula Bob bike.
Yeah. He's inducted into the Hall of Fame. I'm not sure if you're aware of both he and the
last podcast
the Michelina brothers from Little Indians, which was pretty appropriate. And we're hopeful that we may be able to get them to call in one of the shows.
Oh, that'd be nice.
And he is a kick. Ray from Little Indians is going to be, we'll give him the whole show. And we'll see if he could take us as far back as he can. And boy, did they do things in a way that you and I, Ed, would love to. So let's get to Ian. Ian, we last saw you, in fact, every photo that you're pretty good online.
Yeah.
You post daily, wouldn't you say?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I love the fact that you're also a really good gauge for what's going on with the buying and selling of the parts. I mean, if anything, you're almost like in that volume zone where you're kind of setting the standards for pricing and
yeah, the thing with that is I actually, all those parts, I actually got those in a big bundle deal, and some of them I don't need necessarily.
Sure.
So, hey, I know there's people out there that need them, so hey, I let them go for cheap. Whoever needs them, hey, here you go.
So like anything else, you'll see a stash, so to speak, or a lot of products often, and then just buy them in volume, keep what you need, sell off the rest. And that's just more of a matter of storage, just like collecting mini bikes, right? It's how much room do you have to buy.
Exactly. Like we were speaking of it earlier, and I mean, it comes a time where you're like, man, I need more room. Do you sell them? Do you make more room? What do you do? And for us, we pretty much let go of a lot of them that we had. And
Yeah,
so,
there's
we
nothing
let
wrong
go-
with that.
Yeah, we let go of a lot of them, and it doesn't mean we're out of it. I mean, and a lot of it lately, we became real busy. Me and my brothers with my little nephew. He started racing little carts, little outlaw carts. And so we've been busy with that, and helping him out, getting his little career started. If you
just
call
take
it
a little
that.
vacation away from mini bikes. That's okay. Everybody does. And
If you want to call it that, from the buying part, I'm still into it. I watch your podcast. I'm still into seeing what everybody's into, talk to everybody. So I'm still into it.
yeah, well, I do see you actively online, and I'll post. I get sickening towards the time the show is because we're trying to just promote the event, which is October the 13th at CV Park in beautiful La Crescenta. Shameless plug, but yeah, I was seeing you a lot, and I love the reaction people get still to this day. I can't believe that people in the hobby haven't seen his People's Choice of winning taco, that custom taco, the green taco.
If I could post it, huh?
Well, no, not just
Yeah, I was
you,
gonna
but
talk to you about that.
well, to me, I see it not with just your posts, but I see it with other people. Cal McCreasy's bike was another one of those bikes. Remember I covered Calvin's bike, his drag bike, when we were back in Detroit? That video still continues to grow, and he pushed it out there. You've got to push.
Yeah.
And then at some point, you just let it go, like letting go of a balloon, and that's what's happened, I think, with your taco. I think that it's out there enough now, and it's so easy to photograph. Now, if I recall, was that bike or wasn't that bike the orange bike that the same guy, Danny?
Yeah.
Was that the one that he had? And where did we see it? Did we see it at Max?
No, he had
That's
it
where we
at
saw it
Max.
at Max.
He actually had it at your show before that.
Oh, for sale?
Yeah. No, he had it at your show.
Right, with a West
Showing
Bend in it or something?
Yeah, West Bend. Looked awesome. Seeing it, he had it was that orange color.
Yes.
And then, sure enough, like you said, it was at Max.
And you and I looked at that bike. It was $450 or $550
Yeah,
or even
yeah.
somewhere in the neighborhood where it was tempting.
Yeah,
and
and
you
yeah,
bit.
like I said, it's worth it.
Yes.
Hey, but anyway, I talked to him here and there, and he said, "Man, I get jabs at it, and what I want for it, just it's not there." So, thinking about it for a while, me and him talked. I was down here for the drag races in Pomona. I said, "Let me come pick that thing up."
So,
Come by.
how does that negotiation go? What, give us a little bit of the details. What was that bike? Was it a 550 bike or something like that? Or I thought that's what it was going for.
I believe he
for
wanted
something.
450 over there at the show.
So
yeah.
that's what he was asking for it.
Yes.
People were doing what? Offering $250 and a pair of slicks or some stupid shit, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Or a
I'm
built
sure.
Predator.
I'm sure, yeah,
So how did it go down with you?
So I didn't tell him, but I always wanted it. You know what I mean?
Sure.
I always wanted it.
Rule number 1.
You know what I mean? It's-
Never let them know you want that shit, right?
So anyway, finally, like I said, just down here at the drag races, I had made up my mind a while, but just wanted. A still got the bike. I did.
That was after Max.
Yes.
So we didn't buy at Max when
no,
we saw
not
it.
at Max, and I was surprised because I think right when we were about to leave Max, there was a guy there, just looking at it. Started talking to Danny.
So you kind of
sitting
kissed
there
that
looking
one
at
away
it.
anyways, right?
Yeah, I was like, I'm
Yeah.
sure that guy's gonna buy it. He had a little son with him.
Yeah.
I'm like, it's a pretty cool bike.
So then you see him.
So-
How much further after that was when you saw him again? Was it a few months later you saw him
well,
again?
what's Max? September? I think the
Does it
drags
twice.
It was the September one, I think.
In fact, hold on for a second. When's Max? It's upcoming, isn't it, Ed?
July.
Yeah, July 24th, I think.
What are the
21st.
details on that?
Max Minibike Yard Sale in Norwalk, California. The address is 12102 Volunteer Avenue. And the zip code is 90650. And I usually go there the day before and help them set up. On a Friday, I go.
See, that's a reason to go early. Now, are you bringing donuts? I noticed that was a part of the pitch. It's
No,
like
I don't bring them. Eric brings them to me the next day in the morning.
by the time I get there, the only ones left are those nasty little fucking pink ones.
That's
those
the ones I
abandoned
like.
ones, huh?
That's the ones I like.
Well, then, damn, do a better job eating them. I go there, there's like 20 of
Well,
them.
everyone knows I like those pink ones, so everyone brings pink ones, and you can
Oh,
only
stop,
eat so
stop,
many
please. We're
donuts.
getting it wrong. All right, so give us the details again. When is the date?
The date is July 21st.
So to answer your
2018.
question, it's July, and then he comes back again when? When is his other show? It's
usually in January.
Yes, January.
Towards like the
So
Super Bowl.
So it was January when you saw it last.
Okay.
And then when did you see Danny again?
So it must, because Pomona's February, November. So it must have been January.
Okay.
And then so a month. I told him, I said, I'm gonna come get it. And he said, it's still here. Come by.
You didn't talk price at that time. You just
No, just when we got there, whatever it was, and I gave him what he wanted. The bike's worth it.
good.
The bike's worth it.
And did that come with a power plant?
No.
It was just a roller.
No, just a roller. Yeah, roller ready to go with the jack shaft, everything.
Now at that time, were you?
The brake on the jack shaft, everything.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So at that time, had you already had your sights on that West Bend, and were looking for a home, or he had not yet decided what you're going to put in
Well, actually,
there?
I have a Clinton on it, and so the Clinton I already had. I already knew what I was going to do with it. I just never. I already had it in my mind, so I got the bike, and the motor was already at the Chrome.
I didn't realize that was a Clinton.
Yeah. It's a
Wow. So what is it?
490 Panther.
Panther, yes. So
Yeah.
we saw a Panther at F&B. Remember, they had a 2.5
Oh, yeah,
horsepower,
for
the
that
white
other
one.
bike he's
yeah.
building,
Now
yeah.
that blue bike, what was that?
I
A
don't
Scat Kitty or
No, I don't
what was
know
it? F&B had 3 of them. He talked about a little Indian, and he had that blue one. It's on some
It's
of
a
the.
little bike, but
it's on the
the seat
upcoming-
was trippy though.
It was a metal seat.
Yeah, it was a little tricycle seat.
But I liked it. It was cool. I don't know if we'll find out the
It
name of
was
that.
a metal
We'll share that
metal
with you.
tricycle seat welded to the frame.
Ask Frank to send us a text to tell us what that model was. I hadn't seen it before. It was kind of cool. But anyways, Ian, so that's a Clinton that you did, and you chromed everything.
Yeah, had it all chromed out, everything, and anything that couldn't be chromed out, polished. So everything's done, and yeah, that bike. I always tell people I put a lot of time, money in that bike, but from what I can say about it, and the reward is like no other. So,
Well, it was also part of the family. I know your brother Eddie's hanging out, and Pops, how's he doing?
he's doing all right.
Yeah, it's a long haul coming out
Yeah.
here, right? Christ,
Yeah,
he's like,
old, you know.
he gets here once a
Wait
year.
minute. Yeah.
He's your buddy,
I wanna
right?
Shout out to Pops Cordova.
Yep.
Sorry he couldn't make the trip. Hope he gets well soon.
Isn't he your buddy from GTS?
Yes.
You guys are close on age, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah,
Okay,
we talked.
so we may be having technical difficulties, sound. So we're going to keep going because we'll re-air this, and we'll find out what's happening to see if we can affect the live folks. They're probably wondering what the hell's going on. But in the meantime, yeah, his dad. You guys go back from
yeah, well, we
GTS,
kind of are the same age and went through the same time period of stuff going on.
and you remember when he came down here when Ian was first on the podcast.
Right.
Thank you, Linda. Linda's letting us know. You want us to just keep going?
Yeah.
Okay, so we met your dad when he first joined you, and that was back with, in fact, the photos on our Facebook page. We had all of you here. Eric,
Yeah.
Eddie,
He
you,
loves this
Pops.
shit, man.
Yeah, well, we had him, and I remember your dad at that time, and I remember the satisfaction that he too enjoyed, Ian, being with you at the show.
Oh yeah.
With the bike and with everybody. You guys had a nice little spot there. You had a little mini Hanford
Yes,
going on over there. How many people were with you? Christ.
Yeah, we had a lot. Well, it was me and my brothers and
Yeah.
their girls and.
And when I
Cool.
saw that, when I saw all you guys coming, thank you, first of all.
Oh, no problem.
But that's why I do it.
We'll always support you, man.
Yeah, thanks. And it was, I was hanging out like in June. I was out here, and it was really nice. It's like, man, I tried to push that event back from August to September to October, and it's still hot. And it's like, wow, what if I tried to do it in June? It seems like, I don't know how it was where you were, but June was kind of cool. They call it
well,
June gloom,
was-
right?
Yeah, June gloom.
I bet if I booked a June date, it'd be 150 degrees. So I got to stick with October. And yeah, seeing you there and seeing your dad, and that was really more of a family bike. I guess that's what I was getting at. It seemed as if you had everybody
It
involved.
really was. My dad actually really helped me.
Yeah, what I enjoyed the most was watching the family there at the show with the bike on display, and there was always a group around there, but either you would sometimes go out like a proud pop, which I would be, and then literally your dad would almost, it was like wrestling when someone would tag team and someone else would jump in, then your dad would go out there and he'd field questions and take his little spin out there. It was a good deal for him, and you had the brothers out there as well and some other folks. That was nice. How did that work out? Was that bike by design going to be a family project, or just a typical CB mini project where everybody's involved in most of them?
No, it was mostly all my ideas.
Okay.
I pretty much did everything, and as far as putting it back together and assembling it, my dad really helped me a lot. And like I said, we came down a day before your show, and like I said, the night before, he's there polishing the heck out of that thing. Not asking him about it. He's just going to town. Well, we're here trying to enjoy being away from Hanford, and.
Well, you wanted it to be right, man. You know?
For sure. Yeah. He's all about,
He's pushing you out of the way at that point, right?
You're not going to do anything, so here I am. And like I said, we don't have to ask him. He just goes at it, and hey, that's his way of being a part of everything. So there you go.
Yeah, good. Well, we're wishing him the best. And Ed, you and I were talking earlier. I'm not sure if that was a part of the podcast before we got a little bit of a pause. Heat's always an issue when you do these things out here in California in July. What is today's date? Is today the 11th?
11th, I think.
Yeah, so a belated happy
10th,
birthday.
I think.
So wait a minute.
No, it's 11th.
You know the date because
What's the date today?
The 11th. Yesterday was my birthday.
Yesterday was the 10th.
Yesterday was your birthday, and I understand from talking to Linda, there's some birthday shenanigans planned for Ian for the second half.
Cool.
Of the event, but at this rate, it's probably going to be melted. If you can guess what the hell it is, right?
We'll take it.
Everything's melted. I bought her and I. For those of you who have been here, we're like literally, how far are we from Ralph's?
Oh, you can probably throw it.
100 feet.
So we buy 6 chocolate bars because he likes a little sugar when he's setting up, and I'm into this little chocolate buzz. All of them are melted. You don't stand a chance. So the heat may have affected a little bit what was going on here. You see all this equipment. But yeah, we were talking about Pops hanging out, and you guys hanging out over at GTS and wishing him the best because he was hanging out. He let the 2 guys make the trip.
He really loves hanging out with Ed over here and bullshitting.
They all do. They're all. That's what happens when you become 80 or 70. How old are you guys? Stop, will you? I shouldn't talk. So we in the earlier part of the podcast, Ed, you and I were talking about. I don't know if we had a chance actually. What was going on with the Hall of Fame? We have Temecula Bob. We talked about having the guys from Little Indian, but that continues to be a struggle. And Ian, you see it from a different perspective, and you've been working, and I hear this as a rumor, but you've been working with a guy on, is it a secret build? That I think a lot of, Jake Moe, another future Hall of Famer, I would say, wouldn't you?
Oh, yeah.
So what do you two got going on? The Jake Moe and the CB Minis, is it true to what I hear out there in the streets? You guys are working on a little something?
Like we spoke about earlier, how I've kind of been away from actually buying anything or building anything since the taco.
Well, how many bikes do you have now?
That's all I got is the award winner right there.
So you still have the green taco, and didn't I know at the time? I remember you had 4, 5, 6 bikes. Remember with the
actually at one point we had like maybe about 15 altogether between me and my brothers, but yeah, we downsized a lot. And like I said, we did it pretty much, help our nephew out and get his racing going, but never got out of it. So the other day I was thinking to myself, I need to build something. I need to get going.
Get back into it?
Yeah. So instead of going and buying something usually like I do, either it be vintage or whatever, custom already, I got a hold of Jake and let my ideas go, and he said, cool, let me put something down on paper. He let me, showed me and
put it to paper for you.
Put my tweaks on it. And
isn't that exciting to getting a rendering from him?
Yeah, and I think we're a go on it. So,
well, give us a little bit. Is it going to be a? Would you say it's a custom? Would you say it's a little bit of street? Is it old school? Can you give us any hints at all about maybe the direction of the build?
For sure, custom. I mean, anything with Jake, it has his touch on it, but it's gonna come custom as can be. As far as letting you know what it is, I don't really, don't want to put that out there, but I don't know. It's gonna be radical. I can't wait to, see it being built. Maybe release a little bit as it's being built, but
don't push something like that either. I found through a couple of the bikes, especially the ones that he's put together, 1, 2, I think with the small bike, he had 3 bikes. Never pushed them. It was like checking in on somebody that you really cared about. You didn't. It's like every once in a while he send you a couple photos, and it was funny with Jake. He has a knack of sending you pics just before you're ready to reach out. Just before you got to get an update. You don't know whether or not you want to call him or email him or text him. He would beat you to it with not just 1 but 4 or 5 photos that each one of them you'd see, and it's like, wow. So that's one of the experiences of working with him.
Exactly, and I don't know if you've seen. He just finished one of our buddies from Oklahoma, Colin Smith. He finished a little, I guess you would call it, mid-drag bike.
Black?
Looking. Yeah, that black one.
I saw
It's
that.
Pretty nice.
Yeah,
man.
that was
I
on
like that thing.
the site there, the built mini bikes.
Yeah.
Yep, the one that
Yeah,
Midgie and Jake worked with.
That thing's pretty cool looking. I
Yeah.
like that, and I guess that kind of sparked me too. I'm really good friends with Colin. Shout out to him, but
Colin, I know from online like the rest.
Exactly.
He's southeast. Where's he
he's
located?
from Oklahoma.
Oklahoma.
He
Okay.
bought my taco off me that I built
Yes.
2 years ago for your bike.
That's how I
for your
remember
show.
that.
Yes, he
That
bought
guy.
that off me, and we
Shout
came
out
really
to you,
close.
Colin.
Yeah, real cool dude. He's trying to come out to your show this year.
Who's the hot blonde on his when he pops up online? Is a picture of a girl. Is that the same guy? Where when
Yeah, that's his wife.
oh, that's his wife.
Yeah.
What's her name? Do you know?
You know, I'm not too sure. Yeah,
All right.
He's like me.
but yeah.
Well, that's
yeah.
what happens on that side of the
But
desk.
anyway, she's really awesome. I mean, to
Yeah,
let him,
that's why I was
you know,
asking.
Get that bike, and
Well, he's doing it right then if he's buying your bikes.
and he's trying to come out here for your show, like I said, and I gave him a place to stay. So hey,
Here's the deal. Anybody that comes out from where?
he's coming from Oklahoma.
All right, you come to Oklahoma, like, I'm not going to charge you. Now, here's what I'm going to do. You're going to pay. Yeah, that's what's going to happen. You pay, and what I do is I give you back the vouchers so you can go buy whatever you want. That's kind of cool. So for anybody that comes that far away, the least I could do is help you there. And I would love it if he came out, especially bringing back a bike that Jake built.
Yeah.
How nice you can get some photos with Jake, and
Exactly.
that's cool.
And that's one thing I think is on his list too, is to, not only meet all you guys for sure, he wants to, really meet Jake and, person who built his bike.
Well, we plan depending on E's schedule, and he's got a few things that dictate his schedule, and then he's got 50,000 other real work-related deals in addition to this thing, Joe's Minibike Reunion podcast. So we let E dictate the schedule typically. Ed and I are pretty flexible. In fact, thanks, Ed. You're always flexible. I am too. We don't have much of a choice, right? It's not like we set the schedule. But as we get closer to Joe's Minibike Reunion on the 13th of October, it would be nice that if we could get a little bit close. I know it's tough the Wednesday before, but wouldn't it be nice if we can get some folks in a little bit earlier, maybe have some of them on the podcast as guests?
Yeah, because
That
I
would be
know
cool.
Kyle Calkins. I think he's from Nebraska.
Yeah,
He's
I remember
supposed
that
to be
name as
coming
well.
Down to your
Yeah,
show,
and I
as
saw
well,
a few other
bringing some
guys.
bikes.
It's
Yeah.
funny you say that. A few other folks.
Yeah.
Usually it's
that'd
after
be cool.
Usually it's ones that I'm a dick to. One of them, like I posted recently, Mac's event, and you'll notice that when I send something, I'll say go here, and then I'll copy and paste something that's advertised for someone else. And I didn't realize that the information on Mac's upcoming event, which is when, Ed? The
July
Mac Fest,
21st.
right down in Norwalk.
It's on a Saturday.
How did we go? We went to 710. Did we bounce off the 710?
I go a couple different ways. Sometimes I just take the 5 to the 605 and get off at Imperial, or you can just stay on the 5. They redid it right there, so I think you have to get off at Pioneer,
Yeah.
and it'll take you to Imperial Highway, and then volunteer like 2 blocks
So tell them good news,
away
bad
from
news.
Pioneer.
The good news is that there's the Mac Fest, not only now, but then he happens again the first time of the following year, January-ish. But because of the fact that, we talk about this too. Once you're doing an event and you get into the event schedule, you're going to get stepped on. No matter what weekend you pick to do something else happened. And for the third or second year in a row, Mac can't be with
Right,
us at Joe's
second-
Minibike Reunion
second
because
year.
it's Pomona.
Right.
And me, I've got to get a couple weeks in where I can't go from the 13th to the 20th because I have other things that I've got to do. So schedule-wise, it's unfortunate to be a disconnect. So if you were hoping to see Mac,
Well, see, there's 2 problems with Mac. There's the Long Beach swap meet he goes to,
Yes.
and the Pomona swap meet. So
Yeah.
that's like 2 weekends out of
and
the
those are
month.
huge events,
Right.
almost national in scope, despite the fact they're so close to us. People come from all over to go to those events, and obviously you can make some good money there. Mac always has cool stuff. In fact, he has a small Temecula Bob
bike for sale.
black
yes.
coated bike. Everybody's doing black bikes. Colin's got a black bike. I don't know that I.
He's got a trail horse on there for sale now on Craigslist.
A lot of trail horses are out there. Interesting. And I think of you, my antennas go up immediately. A lot of them are those older, small ones that had the small anemic 3 horses with the
No, mine's
steel
the,
fenders.
mine's the swing arm one.
Oh, your bike. And I'm not talking about your posts of those bikes. Those are iconic, hardcore, real mini bikes. man.
Oh, you mean the Bonanzas I posted?
Yes. those bikes
That's the way they're going to stay.
looking great, Ed. Now, folks who haven't seen those, Ed, where can they see those photos?
On Facebook under Ed Rowlett.
Okay.
Rowlett.
Great. So check those out. And if you don't know how to locate those photos, you can let us know. Linda? Okay. We're just indirectly trying to keep up with the heat issues with the podcast, and we're going to keep going, and we'll rebroadcast this. Yeah, there was a couple things going on. Before I get to that, Ed, one thing, if I could, we had so many people that were commenting on not only the post that we had introducing Ian. You were quite popular, Ian. Yeah, really. And I had a list of them, and then you had a list, and it would probably make sense to give a little shout outs right now to a few folks, Ed, and then we hit the rest of them at the second half of the show. Once again, if you are unable to hear this, we apologize for that. If you are able to hear this for any reason, send in your questions or comments. We're reaching out to Andy Searles, Rick Watson, Jason Oberhelman. Hopefully I didn't butcher that name. Alfredo. We're always saying hi to Fredo and Jake Mo and all those guys up at the AV. See if we can get Ian to give us a little bit more information about his build. I'd get something out of him maybe Ed, before the show's over.
I'm not saying a word.
All right. Well, you can try during the break. Vinny's Minis. Vinny was good. Vinny was telling everybody, because, I post 7 p.m. Pacific, and Vinny's like, hey, guys, on the East Coast, that's a 2-hour difference. Like, nah, quite, Vinny. Got to add another hour. It's 3-hour difference. So it's really 10 o'clock Eastern time. We thought Vinny was starting a little party a little bit early. Vinny Kudo, good guy, good supporter. Always shares our stuff, Ed. He's a big giver. That's the Italian in him.
Yeah, he shares a lot of my stuff. Shout out to him.
Yeah. He was buying a lot of your stuff, too, wasn't he? Or wasn't he asking? He seemed like he was always asking when you were putting your stuff out there.
A lot of stuff. Yeah, but he's a cool dude. Cool guy.
I came across a couple cool guys, too. Chris Scott was a guy from are you familiar with them? Western New York Minibike, buy, sell, swap.
Yes.
They go by another name, the Major League Minis.
Yes, exactly.
Give those guys a shout out. They're in upstate New York, which that's the Western. I was Utica, which wasn't quite that far west. Same neighborhood, so they're kind of homies. They're into mini bikes big time out there doing their deal in Western New York. Big shout out to you guys. Some local folks, and speaking of upstate, Jim Graziano and Rich Robatello. Boy, you don't want those guys knocking on your door, Ed. I thought I'd say hi to them just in case I needed a little favor.
That shit.
No. Plus, they'll never be able to find you now. You're in the midst of moving, right?
Not yet, but I will be.
You getting the feel for it? Is it starting to happen?
Yeah, I talked to the landlord, and he actually said I have a couple more months.
What a relief that is.
Yeah.
Because, you get through the summer.
Yeah, it
maybe
would be killer to be moving right now.
Oh, shit.
Yep.
The heat.
What a relief. I'm glad to hear that, Ed.
Yeah.
Congrats.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. Good. And it's something will come to you, just like anything else. Ian and I were.
You never know when someone says you got to move, and then you give them the rent, and they don't exactly tell you when you have to get out.
Your life is centered around having a place that you can go home. It's your sanctuary.
Yeah.
Everything else is just it's
Plus,
tough.
I've been there like 12 years.
Yeah. Well, then again, starting something new is
So
always
I
fun.
collected a lot of junk that's laying around, and now like, what do I do with this?
You do an Ian Cordova. You sling some of the stuff out there. Who did I see? That terrible show, Counts Custom, where the whole episode was based on him selling his whole inventory. He's going to sell the whole fleet, only to immediately replenish. That's the you get rid of the bounty and then you bring it back in.
I know guys like that.
Yeah, and I think as you get older, which we are, you give out. It's not so much about buying or selling and then bringing it back in. It's almost like, you know what? Look, at 70, I think I'm going to let this one just go. Let's let some 30, 40-year-old guy get into it or whatever.
No, not
So
me.
I-
Not
I-
me and the Bonanzas.
I'm done. Everything that I have here is going to stay.
You can deal with my girlfriend after I die on that.
I think she has my number, but I don't have hers. Thanks for the photo. Thank you. Oh, God. I need to get started. E, do you get a sense of things? Are we still...
Live is very choppy, but we're definitely still recording.
Oh, we are? Okay, gotcha. We had a few other folks. I wanted to recognize folks from American Mini Bikes in Arizona. Speaking of weather, how about what's going on out there? Well, like wind storms a mile high. 2 miles wide with dirt,
Crazy.
like you can't see. Cars or buildings, roofs getting blown off, landing on cars. Amazing, and then like nothing. Comes in,
Crazy.
beats up the whole town, and leaves in 24 hours. So I know they were giving us a little grief. Some of our Arizona mini bike guys were sending a photo. They had a photo of, it was 117 or something in Arizona, but it was beautiful. Blue skies, white billowy clouds, picture beautiful mountains, and then it had like 108 in Riverside with this nasty haze. It was dark. It was kind of looked like your beard. And they were comparing the two as if they had the weather beat over us. And then I saw that sandstorm. I was like, okay, welcome to Egypt. At least we don't get that shit over here, right? So anyways, shout out to the American mini bike guys there. Albert Hernandez. We talked about Calvin Smith, my main man, Calvin Carisi, Sean Gagayer, Brad Treat, Brian DeMoisey. In fact, Brian had an event. Brad had an event. It's Brad DeMoisey. He is very popular on many of the mini bike sites that we frequent. There's a Run What You Brung shootout. It's Saturday, July 14th, so it's this Saturday. You have to get a hold of Brad to find out where the location is. It's single-cylinder engines, 8th mile racing, heads up, arm drop, you jump, you lose. If you cross the center line, you lose. You can have any kind of clutch setup. The same rider has to stay on that bike for the whole event. And the races will be picked by drawing chips out of a helmet. I like that, Ed. Old school. The first round call-outs are allowed, and they encourage side bets, which is another good thing. So Brad DeMoisey, it's BradDemoisey. These are folks calling us. Do we have a problem with the show? Yes, Myron Bailey. Hi, Myron.
Hi, Myron.
Should we put Myron on?
How's the garden going?
I don't know. It's going to be tough. Saturday, July 14th, if you want to get into that, I just thought I'd break that out. Ed, we'll get to some of these other guys and some of these other gals. I know you're going to not want to forget to say hi to Karen.
Yep.
So you're down to one bike, and then you've got another bike that you can't tell us too much about, Ian, because it's still under construction.
Yeah, because I mean, honestly, too, we haven't really. I mean, there's tiny things I want to change about it, nothing that we can't start building about, you know? So,
sure.
I mean, it's just not all the way complete 100%.
And then, I don't know if you experience the same thing that I have, but sometimes you go through that little drought like we were talking about where your interest, like you say, it's with is it your nephew?
Yeah.
What's his name?
Gavin.
Give Gavin a shout out.
For sure.
So, in fact, let's stay on him for a second. I keep seeing some pretty impressive posts. Like, all I remember is 2 years ago I saw this little midget following you. Then all of a sudden, he was taking pictures next to a wing car. He's in it now. What has happened in addition to 5 or 4 years going by, whatever it's been? But tell us about this quickly. What's he up to? How did he get started from being a big fan to actually getting into one of those contraptions?
Well, yeah, like being around his uncle and his dad and all of us, and we always took him to the races. So he always said he wanted to race. So my brother found this little quarter midget, not the one he races now. It was a quarter midget, just to kind of mess around, so he can have a little, midget, the sprint car feel. And we made him a little track out at his grandparents' land, and he would go out there and just drive it around, just beat it up. We'd always his
grandparents had a pretty nice little yard, like Evil Ed's house, where you could ride around.
Well, they had some good little land, and he was like, get him out there, help him out, And so we built the track. He's out there riding around, and after riding for a bit, my brother was like, I'd like to get him out there and at least see what he can do.
Now, which brother is that?
Eric.
Okay.
So anyway, Eric gets him.
What's happening, Eric?
Yeah, shout out to him. Gets him a little cart. We found it online. Guy up north, Damon, real nice guy. And Eric gets the cart. And
what was that cart? That first bike, or the first cart? Do you remember what it was?
The one we got him.
Yeah.
Right now. The one he has now, it's a QRC. It's a little outlaw cart. It's got a little beginner box stock motor on it. It's just a stock Predator.
Sure.
Yeah, can't do anything.
6 horsepower, 7 horsepower, beef it up a little bit.
Yeah, just like the ones we put on the mini bikes. And so we took him out there the first couple of times, beginner. He was a little nervous. anyway, getting a couple races under the belt and going out to his track, actually practicing. A couple weeks ago, he goes out there and just kicks some ass, man. Just wins the both heats, and then wins the main event.
And he's fearless now. We were talking about that, right? How old is he?
He's 7. He'll
Yeah,
be
so-
8 in November. And
Has he tasted a little dirt yet? Has he flipped at all? Has he hit the wall? Has he hit anybody? Has he gotten? He's mixed it up.
not on the track he actually races on, but out on his track, he's had a couple accidents. Not his fault, and so he's been there. He's had a couple accidents.
Okay, so he's not
ready
afraid
to
to
go.
mix it up. Good.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Well, continued success with him because I see him posted on that, and that's cool, isn't it, to work with somebody young?
Yeah,
especially-
and he's got his own little Instagram that we run. It's just a little fan thing.
Got the Evil Ed sticker on the.
Oh yeah. In fact, tell him.
He does. Got the Evo Ed sticker on there, and he flies up top of them every time.
And Ed, you'll be happy to know that not only did we replenish the CB Mini allocation of decals. In fact, I need some help. Ian, if it was not for you, look down. Look at this table, littered with some of the iconic brands in the industry. Do you see what you left me to deal with? If you
I thought I left you another one.
well,
My bad.
if it looked anything like that, or it turned out, now this, granted, it probably went through a few 1,000-degree days, but if it wasn't for you, that would have even stayed. I'm kind of keeping that now like a badge of honor, but we're going to need speaking of decals.
We'll get you.
All right, good.
Restocked for
So,
sure.
Ed, you'll be happy to know that we hooked him up with larger Evil Ed decals.
Yeah.
You did.
Yes, so who knows? So maybe we'll be seeing some posts because they've proven to be good karma.
Huh.
Yeah, once you put it on there.
We'll put you on there, and ever since then, man, he's kind of went up.
So, Ian, you got this trophy, and you've got the bike, and within the mini bike world, that is, you've seen a little bit of a skip in your step. Your friends break your balls. Is it something you have fun showcasing and showing off a little bit? I mean, how's the rub been as it goes, being the People's Choice winner?
It was cool. Personally, to me, it was a big thing, huge thing, man. I mean, I've been going to your show since I think either 2014, 2015.
Yeah.
And I've seen the people that have won, and I'm like, man, I thought I was bringing some cool shit. And the people that have won are just out of here. So I knew going into last year, I was like, if I want to win this thing, I got to bring it. And I got to, so did what I thought I could do. And, hey, look, I mean, it paid off. And as far as, anybody busting my balls, now everybody's pretty been cool with it. And congratulations, and,
Yeah.
to me. So.
Seems all positive.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Everybody's been cool with it. And, hey, I can't wait to see, who takes it this year.
Yeah, it should be interesting. I've heard a lot of folks that are building. I've heard a lot of folks that are getting ready for whatever that means. Hopefully
And
that
ready
means
for
the same.
Dyno. I hear a lot of talk on
Yeah,
that.
the dyno seems to continue to be in an area where we're so restricted out here because we can't really ride in any way. It's just not going to happen. We realize that. So that and our Cackle Fest are the only things that we can actually do to fire them up, or within the dyno. I've got to do a little bit of a better job there. That's still a little bit risque. Man, you can, God forbid anything happens there. One of those engines explodes and people are so close. So I've got to make some safety improvements there, but we continue to get the support there because we moved it around and it faces the back now. And those neighbors back there, they've been pretty cool. And I don't think it's, granted, it is a loud part of the show, but it's not, since we moved it, it's much better. So yeah, the dyno does bring a big group of bikes, and those bikes, I've got to do a better job videotaping that, Ed. That would be just great to have a series of videos of those bikes, every one of those bikes that went there, and release it. Yeah, we'll have a little dyno gauge. We're going into our 7th year, and some of these light bulb ideas, they just start to happen after you realize that, yeah, instead of wondering if you're going to have it the next year, whether it's, especially the early years, you wondered, are you going to get by the first one or the third one? Or do you do the 5th one, or do you wait? And and if it's not meeting whatever your goals may have been, whether it's from sponsors or how many people are going to show up, you can either get really excited or lose that excitement from year to year, depending on what happens. But when you get to that place now where I think we're getting to at year 7, where you're going to kind of plan it, unless you decide it's not going to happen, I'll be the only one who decides that we're not going to do it. And I don't think that's going to be the case. So I think we're at that place now where now we can count on having the dyno and getting better at it. We've already made stabs with your help at getting the judging. In my view, we've got 3-4 great guys, fair guys, and thank you, Ed, for your helping out. But Ian, you were part of the judging. How was that? We tried to put together a little something. I had heard a couple things that I wanted to bring up before I forget. Frank from F&B had mentioned it. In fact, while I'll mention it, for those of you who have tech questions, the other side of F&B, Frank's brother Brian, he's a little held up tonight. He's working on a project. In fact, it's another bike build. He's working a little late. He may not be able to get to us like he was last time, which was spending time on the phone. But he's still going to be able to get to the questions at the break and shortly after. And at the end of the podcast, like he did last time, Going Solo will award a winning question, and he'll be giving away a Stage 1 pipe. And we were out there watching them being made, and I can tell you, that'd be really cool to win. He also does custom pipes. He showed us his intake manifolds out there. What else did he have, Ed, there? He had bikes, right? Frames, for sure.
Yeah, and he had the pipes all on the welding table.
That was cool, isn't it?
And then he had that one little blue bike that he was restoring for the guy.
Yes, we've got to find out what that is. In fact, I wonder if he's...
I forgot what it was already.
It was cool. It would be like if Ian found that bike, it'd be... yeah, that'd be one of his... This is other guy, Jimmy, that I bought this engine from. Jimmy Griffith, is that his name? James Griffith?
James.
Yes.
I think I know you're talking about.
He's all over now. He's worse than you. He's posted like everywhere, right? And I don't know how I got talking to him, but hey, before we get to the break, I'm just urging everybody to send in their questions or comments. Again, we'll be giving away the cam. We'll be giving away the Stage 1 pipe. And we'll see how things go with Brian. He may finish up early, and maybe we will be able to get him on the phone. For those of you who may be getting this in a spotty format, I don't know if you're able to or not now. E, any update on yours? I'm going to keep on going. You think we're...
I'll reset things during the day.
Okay. So, with that said, how are we doing time-wise?
We're at 45, 50.
All right, great. Yeah. Okay, get that sense. So, as we lead up to the break, Ed, that Ian's bike, what is it in your view? Like, to me, the paint got me at first. And I'm embarrassed to say that I thought you had took at first blush because they look similar. I thought he had slapped on a West Bend because I remember that Danny was also either he had that.
He had a West.
He had a West. That's
Yep.
where I got confused.
He did.
And then when you look at that, especially at first blush, but the paint got me. The fact that it was a taco, obviously, that makes that very cool. We see so many tacos, we're spoiled. So I think when other folks who don't see them as often and then see one in that color, how did you come up with that color? Well,
To be honest with you,
'cause that's what got it for me. That's what got me hooked into the bike.
I didn't want to do the purple because that's what they came, you know what I mean, original. It was orange already, and I wanted to do something that would just stand out. And Steve Hicks from Ventura, No Limit Powder Coating, he races sprint cars, so that's how I know him. And we talked about it, and he's like, man, let's do something crazy, you know what I mean? So we started looking, and he's like, look at greens. So I started looking at all the greens that he has available, and that one just stuck out to me. I'm not sure why. It just grabbed my attention. I was like,
yeah, do you
that'd
remember
be
what
cool.
green name that was? Did it have a particular name? You know, it was like green lime, or it's like a lime
it's
color, isn't it?
Neon lights.
Oh, neon lights?
Neon lights green.
Yeah, that's a great.
From plasmatic colors, or powders.
Yeah.
Plasmatic powders.
And you liked going with powder coating over paint.
Yeah, I mean, just, I don't know. I see, you know, with painting, it's a lot of chipping easily.
Powder coating too,
coat's a
though.
lot of yeah, it can, but as far as, I mean, that bike, I knew I wasn't really going to be out there to ride it. I built it strictly for your show.
What I want to know is when powder coat first came out, you couldn't damage that stuff.
Something changed that.
The guys would come around to your shops to have a powder coat part and hit it with a hammer.
Yeah.
You know, advertising how good it is. And now, because we do a lot of powder coats at where I work on parts, this stuff doesn't stick.
It sticks on static products. If you powder coat something and it stays somewhere on a shelf, you're going to be fine. What I found, and I had, it may have been pre-CB. Early on, I was reaching its straws, and although now we're fortunate that we have folks that offer us bikes to give away, and we have support from sponsors. The first time I was buying bikes to give away, and I bought 2 bikes. I bought 2 Isuzus, if you recall, and I was giving away full rollers, not with an engine, just a roller, and I didn't know whether or not I was going to paint them. That was time I was thinking about having you do it, or somebody who was a really good painter. Then it's like, well, I knew someone who their business was powder coating. They're in the wheel industry. Those guys are all about powder coating. I had my frames ultimately powder coated through him. Did a great job. Awesome. Donated the service. I mean, couldn't have been any happier. To me, I died and gone to heaven. And both of them, when I was assembling them, whenever I got to a place where I was torquing something down, rear axle bolts, handlebar grips,
Chipped.
It cracked.
Yeah.
Chipped more appropriately. So I had got turned off from my own experience, and I had heard hints of folks feeling similar. Yes, I've also seen it with paint, not from assembly. When you drop a screwdriver on a nice paint job, you're fucked, right? You drop a wrench, those things happen. I did that with a beautiful Bonanza of mine, carrying over a bucket of bolts over it, and the bucket of bolts dropped right on the frame. And it was, and that was done the right way. There was just like a car, certain coats, primer, a little body work, nice work. So I wondered what you were electing to do with that. So I love the color. You did the powder coating. From 15, 20 bikes to one. Now slowly working maybe with Jake. What do you see beyond that? Like, are you keeping an eye out maybe for that one bike? Because I am. Like, I always wanted a Bozo. You may have heard my first bike.
Yeah.
So I always had that one that haunts you. Do you have one that haunts you that you would always be open to get if it came open, Ian?
I mean, honestly, I've always wanted one, a Bonanza chopper, man. Bonanza chopper.
Ed?
No, I already have mine. Mine is the first 50.
Yeah, so you've got all the good old ones.
And I got one.
Yeah, our neighbor thought it was funny. If you find out what he paid for his house, we'd be laughing. Yeah, there's something about those iconic bikes. I've got a couple of them, and a custom, and custom choppers are nice. It's nice to have the. You had an Arco Reynolds chopper, right?
Yeah, I did.
And that was cool because they had that larger spoked wheel. Kind of the seat was a little.
Lace.
The seat was different.
The whole thing was kind of weird looking, but I like those choppers.
Yeah.
Well, they remind me of even the Little Indians. In fact, the Little Indians are the ones I think that have the inverted.
They do.
Yeah,
they do.
So him and I were talking
Grasshoppers.
about handlebars on choppers.
Or Rutman grasshopper.
And you'll notice how ours are out, and then the older ones were tucked in. Remember those?
Yeah, like pullback.
And those were the crazy fuckers rode those. Those guys had open exhausts and they were smoking cigarettes and no helmets. The normal biker, his handlebars were going this way. Just similar to you're either two guys on a motorcycle. You're either this guy, you're just cruising, or you're this guy.
Yeah.
I just. There's only two types of mini bike riders and two types of motorcycle riders. And on the chopper, the one who really pulls it off, I think, and not because I have them, there's no cooler chopper than a Bonanza chopper. The Little Indians look a little disco. They don't know what the fuck they're doing. There's too much somewhere.
Made a chopper.
Yeah, I remember that one too, and that was a Me Too. That wasn't what they were known for. They had to add one. You had to have a chopper in your menu, right? The Rutmans, little something too much kind of sort of going on there. They're nice. I like because I like Rutmans. In fact, that's the base that we're working with for the Pioneer giveaway. And before we take a break, and we're going to be taking one shortly, we talked about going out to, is it Hesperia? Hesperia. It's French for real fucking hot, whatever Hesperia means, right? We rolled out there.
That's in like the middle of nowhere.
Yes. I looked at you a couple
then
times.
when we saw that dirt road, is like, this is nowhere.
It was, I tell the story about, over the years I worked with the Gunny, rest his soul, Arlie Emery. Pile, you piece of shit. That was a great movie, Full Metal Jacket. So I used to hang around with him every year. We used to co-host an event at SEMA, the Off-Road Business Center in the Upper South Hall. And he would sign there and sign autographs and take pictures and tell stories for 3-4 days. And the line would be from here to Ralph's. And I would catch him every once in a while before he started. He had a regimen because he's military-like. So he had to be at a certain place. He had to have his coffee a certain way. He signed it a certain way. He had to have a certain pens. His shit was dialed in. His hotel could not have any gaming. He had to be 8 rooms away from, he had like, what do they call it? Riders. His was very regimented, but he was a true idol. Those guys lined up for him. And when I used to go visit him, it was very similar to F&B's dirt road. When we would deliver Jeeps to the gunny, and when I would finally get to his place, it would be like 3 or 4 dirt roads. I mean, we would detail these Jeeps like you wouldn't believe it. By the time I gave him the keys, they had like 2 inches of dirt on it. I remember delivering it the first time, and I actually thought, it's like going to be so cool to meet this guy. I can't wait to meet this guy. I'm trying to remember lines, because he's been in a ton of movies. If you Google Arlie Emery, it's not just Full Metal Jacket. It's 20, 30 movies. And then he's even in some cool contemporary movies that I missed because he went to an older, clean-shaven guy. But when I was waiting to get there, and it was the first time, and it's like meeting so many times when you meet the celebrity that you always thought so much of, you're disappointed. I said, hey, big fan. He just grabbed the keys. I didn't even get a chance to tell him, big fan. He just grabbed the keys. See you later, man. I got to go. Got to go. Give me the keys. And I was in the middle of big fan, thanks for everything. He's like, no, he had to go. And, yeah, when I got to Frank's, that dirt road, Linda's car was all nice. Linda's car, you can get off the friggin' thing, right? Clean. 8 years old. It's got 3,000 miles or 5,000 miles on it. I think that was the first time anyone sat in the back seat. We stuffed a fucking mini bike in there.
Stuffed the mini bike
took it down the roads of
the dirt.
Off-roaded it. Shh, she's listening. Well, actually, she may not be listening. And for those of you who are watching now and may have awkwardly been affected by trying to watch it when we filmed it live, we apologize and we thank you for coming back and watching it. E may not even keep this in there, but before we go to the break, it was fun because when we got there, it was a come to Jesus. All those ideas, like you showed an interest in maybe having a rendering done, which I suggest you do. When I had a rendering done of the bike, the giveaway bike, that was my little stay up at night. That was I was dreaming. That's I was in. And when we had that big shroud, we had that big insert and that huge seat.
Yeah.
And then we had to add the bags on the side. Then we're talking about stretching the frame. Yes, wasn't it? And then wasn't it really an awakening, Ed? When it's like, you know what? Take off the big front. Move this over. Let's extend it because we really.
Well, ideas come after you start.
Yes.
Really getting into it. You're like, well,
that's what it
why
was.
do we have to do this when we can do this?
Yeah, and we were lucky too because not only did we have ourselves, you and I, who cover it and got a vested interest in just keeping it going and seeing it come to fruition. And, it was our baby from the beginning and as things go. So the fact that now that we had you there, me there, we had Jake there, who was a big part of it and continues to be, who helped us find our way. We had all the other prior contributions, like the guy who made the seat and everything else. But, yeah, getting there and realizing that we're going to stretch that, realizing that we're going to take that vintage engine out because it really didn't face that bike anymore because we were customizing it. So deciding to go with, in fact, Brian was going to talk about that. We're going to go with Predator Hemi, and he'll do a little work as he described. That was a good part of the capture, I think, at the show, despite the fact that it was a little frustrating to interview everybody over and over. Mm-hmm. And you'll go through that too, Ian, because I'm hoping that you'll be a part of the series as we go out and tape. More than likely, we'll cover you as you come here for the show, especially if you bring your new bike.
All right.
Is there, in your mind, a time where you think we may see that bike? Is that a bike that gets unveiled at this year's show, or do you think that could be more realistically the second year?
I don't know, to be honest with you. We're going to try really hard to get it there this year. That'd be cool. That's our goal.
That's not too far away.
I know, yeah.
And it's a motivation.
It is, for real.
Chris here, who's a local guy with a beautiful blue CT70, a 1969 silver tag. I don't know if you know Chris.
Yeah.
I treat him like a Hall of Famer because he's won the People's Choice Award. Yes, great guy.
Yeah.
Boy, his dad, I want to die and go to heaven and be him. He has every cool card that comes out.
Really?
Yeah, he's filling it up with gas on Foothill. It's like, you got one already? Mustangs, the new Camaro, the new Corvette, the new whatever. He's digging it. He's having fun, and those guys do everything together. They're at each car show. When he's driving the car, his dad's riding shotgun when his dad's driving. He's riding shotgun. It's similar to the deal you got going with Pops. So he defended it twice.
Yeah.
So there's no one and done. You know, you're based now. You're living proof too that we're able to be fair, and that your bike had no advantage in any way, shape, or form because you helped judge.
Yeah.
In fact, it was a big thing for me, as I told you, because you're helping, and Jake. It's like, guys, look, we can't disclude your bikes. You just can't be a part of the judging. And I have to ask each of your friends, whether it's your brother or whether it's each of you. It's like, look, Ed did a really good job at his bike. It's got to be based on its own merit. It can't be, and we've proven that. I think that although we could have, honestly, and I mean this respectfully, there was a handful of bikes.
Oh, yeah.
Just like in UFC, like there's a heavyweight champion now. Anybody could really rotate into that spot. Your bike won because unanimously the people spoke. If your bike wouldn't been there, someone else would have won, right?
And that's what I say. Yeah. That's
You
what I
know,
say is that the people-
and I've always often said too is like, please don't come expecting to win or being mad if you don't. Like you've been on both ends of it,
Oh,
right?
Yeah. Yeah. 3
But
years.
I you did get me. It was the wildest stroke of coincidence for you to not only have had won the People's Choice, you won an engine, didn't you?
Yeah.
And then something happened with what happened with the fucking tickets where you came up to me and either they were,
So-
it was not, the tickets wasn't put back in.
Yeah.
Something
The
happened,
ticket I got for the motor.
right? Was supposed to, because here's how it goes. When you win, we put you back into
For the grand.
Yeah, for the grand prize.
Yeah.
Yes, which was a mini bike again this year.
Yeah,
What did we
the
give?
frame. Yeah, with the roller.
Yes, F&B roller, right? Is that what I gave away?
No, wasn't it the one from the?
Oh no, we
go-kart?
gave away American Flyer.
Yeah.
Yes, Go Kart
Or
USA.
Yeah.
We've given away a few of those things. Yes, that was the
So-
American Flyer, the Chewy one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When I brought the ticket to you,
Yes.
instead of giving it back, you just kept it.
Kept it like,
You kept the ticket. When I gave it to you,
Yeah.
you were supposed to check in and give it back to me, right? Well, you just took it, which I didn't. I mean, whatever. I wanted a motor. I was stoked. Whatever. Well, I remembered the tickets that I had were all in a row. Well, you called the number that I had, the same one that won the motor, the roller, but I didn't have the ticket because you had it. So there's no way I could go up there and prove it.
and I had already called out another winner, hadn't I?
I'm not too
Obviously,
sure.
yes,
Yeah,
I had
yeah,
to
yeah.
have because we gave it to Chewy.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah. You afterwards. Yeah, after the fact.
So
Yeah.
could you have imagined? And honestly, I mean, look, there was
getting
nothing.
mad.
There was nothing going on. It was like
It was all. Yeah. It was
I was
all-
going to give you the mic. It's like, fuck, he's here longer than I am. He keeps, every time I was giving something away, Ian's like,
We call this the Ian show.
and I mentioned that, and I think I got a little grief. Someone sent me something, said, oh, it's all fixed. All his friends, we're going to start our own mini bike show. I got like 2 of those. And Ian, look, I wouldn't even be good at fixing something. Ed and I can't even fix winning 2 T-shirts, let alone.
What the hell? How are we going to get those?
But it would have
t-shirts?
looked pretty damn fuzzy for you to have won the engine, the giveaway bike, and the People's Choice.
And the
Not to
open
mention,
class?
and more trophies. So, oh boy, well, look, that's an improvement because the year before I'd gotten caught up. I think what happens to me is that I didn't delegate too much towards the end, and it got to be we had so much to give away. You remember it? Remember we had those final 10 people that we were giving the best outstanding achievements.
Yeah, the achievement was.
So it was at last minute. It wasn't. There was a little bit of a scramble, if I recall.
Yeah.
I remember folks asking me for pens as if it was like the end of the world. It's like, I don't have a fucking pen. I'm trying to put on a show. Stop asking me for a pen. Go find a pen. Figure this out. And look, we've got some trophies. There's a lot of nice bikes. Go back and look. If we just went like 3 deep in the class, go find those 4th, 5th place bikes that let's go give out 10. And it was a little bit of a fast shuffle.
Yeah.
But we had 3 or 4 guys doing it.
Yeah, it was perfect.
And so Ian, thank you, because he had gone out and done that. And he did it in the same spirit as we selected the winners, which was, it was legitimate. We really went out, tried to find the winners. We didn't just decide to give it to, although his brother did win one of those awards, the fix wasn't on that either because he had a nice bike.
Yeah.
But there was a group of them, and I forgot to single them out.
Yeah.
Because I had left, and when I had left, there was 10 trophies. Like, well, who are these? It's like, those were the 10 outstanding achievements. Like, oh Christ, I've got the list in my hand, but I was just so deep into too much, so we tried a different announcer.
You almost forgot to give the bike away too.
Oh, that I was going to say the year before, because we had made an improvement, because the year before we had gone through the whole process and gave away tons of shit. I just remember giving away stuff after stuff, and I was getting boring, and it was great stuff. And then I said, thanks for coming, and it's like, I looked, and there was the mini bike. It's like, oh, hold on, we haven't given away the bike. And fortunately, the winner was there. Oh, Christ. You try to do a car show or a mini bike show. That's why I tell you, Ian, I'm handing this shit over to you. And I think I got a decade in me. Who knows? Folks, we hope that you've enjoyed our time here in this first half of the Joe's Minibike Reunion podcast. We're here with Eian Cordova, CB Mini. We're here with Evil Ed. The heat's affected things in a couple ways, but we're keeping things cool. You do the same. We're going to take a quick little time out. We'll see you in about 10. Joe's Minibike Reunion podcast, season 3, episode
8.
Thanks, Ed. See you in a little bit.
Is your car stereo a little outdated? Don't sell your car. Upgrade it. Get hands-free calling with Android Auto on the new Pioneer Next.
New from the makers of legendary Brake Clean, the Shop Size Brake Clean Pro Series. The larger Pro Size can has 50% more of the brake clean you've trusted for over 47 years. Also available in 3 non-chlorinated formulas.
Hi, I'm Joe Sebergandio. I've been crazy about mini bikes since I was a really young kid. You know, 50 years comes and goes pretty quick, yet my love and passion for mini bikes hasn't changed a bit. So cruise along with us in some of the coolest rides with some of the most colorful characters in this mini bike sport of ours, and check out some of the rarest collections, and visit some of the top builders and some of the wildest bikes, right here on Joe's Mini Bike Show.
Joe's Mini Bike Show.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Joe's Mini Bike Reunion podcast. And it's been kind of a challenging one, wouldn't you say, Ed?
Yeah.
Not just because I can't light these friggin' candles. For those of you who have hung in there with us and are back, I'm not sure if we're actually broadcasting now live, but you'll be able to celebrate the birthday of CB Mini's own Eian Cordova. Eian, you want to tell everybody how old you are?
32.
32 years young.
Yep.
Happy birthday to you. Sing it, Eddie.
Happy birthday to you.
That's saying
happy
it.
Birthday to you. Happy birthday, Ian.
There you go. Well
happy
done.
birthday to you.
Very good, Ed.
Hey, get
Congratulations.
There we go.
Those of you who are joining us, I invite you to
About 27.
wish a happy birthday to my
27
main man,
candles-
Eian.
27 candles short.
You're a chocolate cake guy, huh, Eian?
Yep.
Oh, that's
Sure.
nice. So we have had some inquiries that have come in and some comments, and it was interesting. Calman Carisi out of Detroit, congratulations. Ed and I have decided that you will be winning the small engine cam for your question about what the first mini bike is. It's like, what a great question. I always like, what is it about mini bikes that does it for you? We asked Jake Moe that when we taped, remember? Mm-hmm. That was a good question. But what was your first mini bike? That's the one that really, mine, everybody is sick of hearing, is the Bonanza. What was yours, Eian?
Well, at the time, I didn't even really know what mini bikes like as in the manufacturers, tacos, or whatever, you know. But
you know, you can wish for a mini bike right now.
I actually bought. It was from a local dude. He was just selling a Joe's frame.
Got it.
So I bought
an old
it.
Joe's.
It had a mini bike, it had a wheelie bar on it, and that kind of caught my attention.
Sure.
That'd be cool.
So you went to immediate mini bike drag racer.
So I got that bike, and I think it was only like a few months before your show. I was like, the hell am I going to do with
Yeah, I remember. You did a good job with that.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. I surprised
that wasn't
myself.
a golden pin. What was that gold bike that you had?
It was gold. It was,
yeah. Was that the bike we're talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that bike.
It was pretty cool.
You put that knife down.
I named it Willie Bad.
People do crazy things when they're on the podcast. It's like when they got that knife and they make a wish, Ian.
Oh, I already did.
Oh, you did?
The candles out.
Well, great. Then go ahead and cut yourself a
All
piece.
right, cool. Thanks a lot.
We went all out. We walked that 100-foot walk to Ralph's.
We made it all that way.
So they're limited staff there, like so many service places are. And I waited. The worst job at Ralph's has to be the woman at the bakery, because she's trying to bake for bulk. You know, she's in there baking. She's not making like 12 rolls, right? She's making like 22,000 of these fucking things, and I'm there with a little loaf of bread, like a little waiting. You know, they hate it. You're waiting there just to get your bread sliced, and they don't want to stop the big machine to. So I get her attention. She's like, "Great, tell me what you want. Something? You want a loaf of bread slice?" So I asked her. I said another dumb question. She's like, "Do you have any chocolate cake?" She gave me that look like, "Do you have chocolate cake? I got chocolate cake over here. I got chocolate cake over here. It's fucking chocolate cake over here." It's like, "Thank you, sorry." So we ended up with this. What is it? A bundt cake?
I think so.
Christ, could you leave some for the rest of us?
Hey, yeah.
God, Ed, go ahead.
Nice. Look
It's
at
my
that
birthday.
Sure. Ian. All right. So you went from feast at 12 or something bikes to famine at one, going on a couple. Your eye out for a few. You think you've got a little something in the bag that you may unveil at the show. You know, you better get to it.
I know.
Just like everybody else.
Man.
We had a question that came in about what the cost was to enter your bike at Joe's Minibike Reunion. You okay, Ed?
Oh, you're good.
Ed, want to see something I won't be able to do for a year?
Uh-oh.
Reach.
That's right. Tomorrow.
What were we talking about?
Cost of minibikes.
Oh, the cost of minibikes. Was it? The show. Yes, registration. Thank you, E. A gentleman had asked about what it costs to register the bike. It's a formality. I don't think you could do anything for $20. You can't even start your car if you parked it somewhere without somebody charging you $20 to get out of the place. Mm-hmm. So $20, and you can save $5 by going to a cool little repair shop here in downtown Montrose, which you can almost see from the garage. It's called Campbell Automotive. $5 off, $15. Shit, I might as well pay you at that rate. And when you come in, you're eligible for everything. All the judging, which Ian helps, along with Evil Ed, and got some other guys that helped out. We had Midgie help out. We had Jake Moe help out. Who else did we make badges for? Who made the badge list? Luke. Luke took a look at helping us out with our CT70 Z50 Honda platforms, and he has a really good eye. And then we had some help with the guys from the Groms and the Kawasaki's and the Ruckus class. The Met Trucks, all those guys who are out there, call those that mini moto class. Those are the guys that show up like midway in the event, and there's hundreds of them. They're like a swarm of hornets showing up, and I'd love that. And they always show up just when I'm hoping more people will be there, which is constant when you're trying to pull off the event. Ian, what is it about Joe's Minibike Reunion that you like? Is it the people like everybody else?
Of course, the people, man. I just like seeing all the bikes because it seems like a lot of people build just for your show.
I hate all the people. I like bikes.
Yeah. Well, I get that. And there's a certain part of me that's right in the middle. I'm embarrassed to say I still don't get the chance to see all the bikes.
Hey,
I'm running around.
I found
This
that
year
out
was
judging.
better. Yes. Right?
Found that out judging, man.
And here's what I hate. I'll see a bike somewhere else, and I'll say, "Wow, nice bike." And I go, "Hey, Joe, dude, tell me about this bike." It's like, "Well, it's been on your show for 3 years." It's like, that's when I started to get. I had to try to put things in perspective and slow my roll down so I could at least enjoy it. Sometimes you don't do that. Now, what I can say is that that's because we have an event that lasts a handful of hours. If you're at an event, even as a promoter, and it's a weekend event, let's say Friday, Saturday, Sunday, at some point you get on the golf cart with your buddy.
And you go.
You get tuned up, you do a little hot lap, you stop and see, maybe you buy. I don't even get a chance to buy. Remember the first couple of years of Joe's Minibike Reunion? It was like buying real estate here in like the early 90s. It was all over and it was cheap. Mac alone would bring great deals. People would show up just trying to get rid of their mini bike in the mini bike corral for hundreds of dollars. These are bikes now that people are asking like $1,200 for, like vintage old bikes. So that's changed. Everybody pretty much knows now. Well, you know that. Everybody wants $1,000 for their mini bike, and everybody wants, shit. We laugh about it, Ed. Anything that comes in an original box, they want $100 for. Whether it's grips or an exhaust tip,
Clutch.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, Ian, where is this mini bike aftermarket business in your mind? OMB's a big part of people's purchasing habits. Obviously, studs, small engine cams, but then it's hitting the streets, isn't it? It's pretty much going to the events, hitting all your local events. Or are there any tips and tricks you can give folks about alternative spots for finding parts or getting deals on parts that you've learned from your experience?
I see a lot of people on Facebook on the little mini bike groups.
What are some of those groups you're talking about?
There's like Minibike Nation.
Minibike
Oh, yeah,
Nation.
Clips Deal.
There's the-
I like that one.
There's the
Rex
OMB.
Dutchman has part of that too.
Yeah.
Shout out Rex. What's happening?
Ed, there was also a gentleman who, the gasket guy. What's his name?
Oh, Eric.
Talk about Eric. Are you familiar with Eric's show? He does a Thursday.
On Thursday.
Would it be tomorrow?
Yeah.
What time would it be tomorrow?
5 o'clock.
5 o'clock. Have any insight on that, Ed?
Yeah, my computer doesn't work, so I can barely watch it.
Well, you should
Then
put
I
it
try
on.
my phone, and it doesn't barely works, and then I miss it, and I have to wait.
Ed, put another hamster in that fucking thing,
God,
so
I
the wheel will
swear.
spin quicker. I told you, today. You admitted you have dial-up. At the break, you told me you had dial-up. So
I have a dial-up computer that I have at home, but I don't use it. No.
I made the noises. The bing, 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 bing.
Started getting mad.
Then you remember
hoping
shit-
one day that
Like-
they will come back and I'll have a big bucks for it.
No, here's what's going to happen. We'll auction off your old phone on the podcast, and we'll take the money and we'll get you an iPad, a new iPad, which is like a big phone, Ed, and you could watch things and you could visit all your sites. iPad would be perfect for you.
I'm too old for that shit.
No, it's very simple. I use them.
Too old for that shit. Well, I'm a little older than you.
No, I understand.
Can't teach an old dog new tricks.
And maybe for your cell phone, you can get a longer cord, and then you'll be able to get.
I swear, it's tough trying to use a computer and a telephone these days.
Did you have a couple shout-outs that maybe you
Oh,
wanted
yeah,
to get
I
to?
got a whole bunch of shout-outs. I got them written down today.
Do the edited version. You've gone from like remembering one name to now you got 500.
Oh, yeah. I got Dane Walton. I got Karen Krause. She makes seats.
She makes nice seats. What about the seat she made for you?
Oh, yeah, that's great. There's a picture of it on my homepage on my Facebook. It's for the Bonanza.
That looked like all Bonanza seats should look like.
Yeah.
There was something,
Yeah, and then check her out. She's good. Alan Bryan, Josh Vargas, Kevin Blakeman, Mike DeRocher, E.A. Barnes, Robert
Sounds like a
Wilcox.
Yankee baseball team.
And a shout out to Steve Owens, who's going to do Joe's surgery tomorrow.
Yes, you better don't fuck
Joseph
up, Steve.
Herrera, Jake Moe, Mijay, Pops Cordova. Sorry he couldn't make the trip. Hope he gets well soon. Steve Rice,
Yeah,
Rex Dutchman, Kyle Moody.
how do you know he's Dutch?
That's what it says on Facebook.
Oh.
Don't you believe all that?
I don't know. It's all Dutch to me.
Eddie, Ian's brother.
He's right here. You could have just said hello to him at the break.
Hey, E, what's up? E? Another E. George Torres, Tim Coughlin.
Jorge, I think.
Who?
Jorge Torres.
George. Oh, well, see, I didn't take Spanish when I was a kid.
El hello.
Sorry about that, Jorge. Jim McNair, Cliff Judd, Scott Schneider, Don Ward, Matt Goheen.
That's a tough one, wasn't
yeah,
it? Ed?
Goheen, yeah.
Yeah.
Felix Ortix, Gerard, Roch Groner,
I thought it was Gerard all this time. I'm glad you hooked me up.
Rich Silva, Gail, Linda's sister, who's always listens to the podcast.
Yes, she does.
She'll be out there selling clothing.
Yes,
at
she
the
always does.
Minibike Reunion.
Thank you, Gail.
Rick Bassett, Barrington Turner,
Wow.
Nick from AZ.
He sounds rich. Sell him something, Ian. Rich Berry.
Is this the guy's name? Cam White?
Yes, his brother's Cam Black.
That's kind of a weird name. I like it.
I liked it.
Yeah.
It's got a little
And
oomph
then
to
we
it.
have Eric Biggs.
Is it
Biggs or is it Briggs?
I was going to ask the same. Go with recognize both of them.
Okay, Eric Briggs and Eric Biggs.
Yes.
And then we have a shout out to Chad White Knight Sr. and Eric Adams from OMB.
See, these are and here's these folks are. These are all folks that liked anything that I post about you. In the recent all these folks here are the ones who reacted to your recent posts with your slew of bonanzas.
Oh, really?
Which I want to commend you on. You seem to be making some substantial progress, despite how hot it's been.
Well,
out
because
there.
I have to move, and some of that stuff was torn apart. I didn't want to lose it in the move, so I had to put the bikes together so I could just roll them around, you know?
If I knew
That way-
you getting threatened to be moved out of your house, I would have fucking paid and bought that house so you could finish a couple bikes of mine. If I knew that's what it was going to take for you to fix
them
bikes, I would
together
have
so I
bought
could
the
just
house.
roll them around and didn't lose parts.
I shouldn't talk. I've done a good job moving stuff around. That's about it. I come in here every Saturday, and I want to pull something and pull start it. I don't know if I know he has it. He saw me try to move my arm one way while we were taping, and I almost cried. So as often, like this weekend, it's like, man, I can get one ride in. I think it was July 4th. It was a Wednesday. It was dead around here. At least it was until E's crazy family came out partying for the July 4th out there, and then it turned into...
Are they the ones that made the mess in the street?
No, that was the other couple. They're new. He's very clean. I was out here walking around. It's like, well, no one's around. Like, literally. You didn't hear any cars coming down. I looked at that bike. I said, I'm going to get operated on pretty soon. Let me get one last ride. And what's the worst that could happen? I was going to go on Jake's ride, the AV ride, and you helped me. It's like, nah, let's not. Don't take that. As tempting as it was, that's the beauty of all these things, because when we asked Jake, he said, well, what is it about these stupid bikes that we continue to like? It was just that feeling you get when you're on them. And that's why I'm really getting operated on, because I don't need to throw a fastball anymore. I'm not worrying about having to hit a heavy bag anymore. I can do without that. I just want to go back out and pull start a mini bike or lift one into a truck or reach over and grab a wrench. So because I can't do that now, I got to get it fixed. It's going to take a little while. If you'd like to, Ed, you're going to have to take over on the podcast. We'll switch desks with you. I'll switch sides. You're going to have to lead. E, do you have any idea about upcoming podcast dates? I know you're busy. If you don't, let us know, and we'll post that on the Facebook page. I'm not sure if folks are listening to us now live. Does it seem as if... Okay. All right, a little bit. So, again, if you are able to hear this, thank you for hanging in there. If not, don't sweat it. It will be put up on our Facebook page as well as our normal platforms, maybe by Sunday. He's got some things going on. He's going out to hang out with his family on the ocean, so that's going to be pretty cool.
And I wish I could go to the ocean.
You can, Ed.
25.
What's that?
July 25.
July 25th. Yeah, that looks pretty good. I should be in some. Ed, I'll announce this right now. 7:25, your host of that podcast will be Evil Ed, swapping the mic. I'm going to help out.
Who's gonna be our guest?
You see, here's the thing now. All this shit you get to do. Part of you getting the baton is you get to choose now. You get to pick who you'd like to be a guest, and you should get Guardrail Dave.
Yeah, Dave told me why he doesn't want to come on the podcast, because you're going to ask him a question that he doesn't want nothing to do with, and he doesn't want to answer it, and he doesn't want it brought up. So I know what the question is.
I don't know what the question is.
So I'm like, Dave, all you have to do is tell him don't bring it up.
Yes. Can you tell me what it is?
Not on live podcast.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, that's because here's my take on it. All I would ask him about
He
is
is building a drag bike, though.
Is your escapades early on. I was really why I want Guardrail Dave here is to tell Evil Ed stories, and then
He's got some stories.
And I've been to his place in Sunland, and I saw a few of his bikes, and he makes fucking rape date bikes, big fat tire, fucking alcohol drinking, chugging bikes, and he don't care about anything with full throttle. That's it. Over the time I talked to him, let me try to guess. Mini Bike Paul.
You want him on again?
No, maybe he felt sensitive about talking about Mini Bike Paul.
Oh no.
Okay,
nothing to do with any person.
Okay.
And Maybe I get Cliff Judd to come on.
I tried. It's his. Everybody's got a challenge. Where'd you come from today?
Hanford.
How long did it take?
3 hours.
Right? And it could have been.
That's
Could've been worse.
fast.
Yeah, right?
Could have been 4 hours.
Easy. Like if
That's
a truck
why
flipped.
usually about 4.
Mm-hmm.
So Cliff's, not only is he past Oxnard towards Minibike Paul, but he takes care of his family, his wife particularly.
Yeah.
So it's been tough for him to
He's
get
in
out.
Moore Park.
So as we get to a better place where we're not challenged so often with technical, and even if we are, again, to East Point, we got a handful of folks watching this live, thousands watching it when we
Maybe
when we
I'll
post
get
it.
Edwin.
Well, what we can do, Edwin I reached out to, and he's open. Edwin Murto, if you're listening.
Yeah.
We'd love to have you in. Here's
He's
some of your
probably got
stories.
some Evil Ed stories.
But what we can do is we can take advantage of the phone now. And we've got that ability. I'm not sure if Brian's able to call us in, but we're going to take some initiative here. We had a question, Ed. It was more of a technically spirited question. It had to do with springs for a non-Hemi Predator. And what was it 28 pounds? Was that
26 pounds
26 pounds?
springs.
Why 26?
A little stiffer.
Yeah. So because you really can't go too crazy if you got pretty much a
Well, the stock
setup.
cams will.
Yeah.
Stock cam. The stock valve springs will float real quick.
Sure.
Yeah.
But once you start opening up and you go, like Brian was telling us, you typically start at the flywheel. Then you go figure out,
flywheel and a rod.
you do your little cylinder head work. As he graduated and found himself maybe in that situation, his springs obviously would change. Then what spring pressure in pounds would you think he'd be looking at?
Like maybe 26.
Yeah.
See, in my race motor that we used to race on Anna Street, that had 55-pound springs in it.
And that bike was all about just racing. though.
Alcohol.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
I heard from our friend Home Alone, and he too is looking to reschedule because I know with Ian, you tried 2 or 3 times where it was hit and miss to
we
get you
said
here.
Third time's the charm. Here
Yeah,
we
third
are.
time's the charm. So congratulations to, let's see, Ryan Gray. You're going to win one of the T-shirts from GoPowersports.com. Congratulations to you.
If you want to sell it, let me know.
You wanted one of those, huh? And then
Things are badass.
Jim Savis. Congratulations to you, Jim. You won a Go Power Sports. Again, it looks like Ratfink
Oh, it does,
style. Yeah, it was kind of
Yeah.
cool. And if you didn't win and you would like one, you can reach out to the folks at GoPowersports.com and tell them that you're looking for your Joe's Minibike Reunion discount. Typically, he charges you 20% extra. Or 10% off, depending on what day you get. So congratulations to those folks, and congratulations to John Benet Ramsey, just kidding, for your question on the springs on that Predator that Ed answered. And if you have any more specific questions about springs, contact our friends over at, you got a couple choices. We always start locally out here with our friends at Small Engine Cams. Talk to Tim, he'll get you set up. And if you are closer maybe to the Motor City, you want to check out Eric and our friends over at Studs Performance. And while you're working with our friends at GoPowersports.com, they're not just the place for pretty T-shirts and cool designs. They've got everything for your mini bike needs as well. They specialize in those big Colemans, which are growing in popularity. I see them. I'm more of an old school guy, as we talked about, but they're starting to do some shit with those Colemans.
Yeah.
It reminds me a little bit of when the Leaf-On engines first came out and they were laughable. And you almost didn't hear anything but horror stories about them. And then they got better to the point where they were as good, if not better. I think that's what we're seeing with Coleman. I think Coleman has a great name. They were able to bring in an entry level.
Coleman made mini bikes a long time ago, too.
A little bit differently.
Yeah. But
And at that time, they were branded. They were not manufacturers. They were packagers, where they stuck their decal because they had such a great name, the Coleman name, the
Right.
outdoors name. But I do think that those things are improving. We had one up close and personal when we were out in Detroit, and it was like, if I was really pissed off, I could bend the frame with my hands. I can imagine what happens if you're riding one of those things like they ride. So as they improve, I'll be more of a fan of those. Congratulations to all of our winners, and Calvin Carisi asking about the first mini bike. You won a camshaft from Small Engine Cams. Thank you. Thank you for coming out. Thanks for making some time with us, Ian. I have watched you, as you said, when was it, maybe 2000, 4 years ago, 5 years ago, I think you first ventured out to CV Park. and I knew at that point that you were beyond just another participant. You haven't, in my eyes, everything I kind of thought I'm watching happen. I'm watching you grow as a nice young man and making some things happen, and spreading your love and your enthusiasm for the mini bike industry with everybody you talk to. How many friends do you have on Facebook and all that shit? Is it like, are you thousands now, or?
Yeah, something like that.
And
A lot of them are close friends, and then a lot of them are mini bikers, and then just friends of friends from the mini bike. So
yeah, it's a nice community, is it?
yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of them from back east. A lot of the mini bike dudes. It's cool.
Yeah.
Talk to them, see what they got going on.
Who are some of those guys back there? And we'll give some shout outs to some of the friends that maybe you wanted to before we close up here.
There's, well, like I said, Colin Smith.
Yeah.
He's
Sure.
my homeboy. Kyle Calkins. He's cool. He's always talking to me about some mini bikes. Anything he picks up, he always shows me. That's
Yeah, every
cool.
weekend he seems like he's picking up something, doesn't it?
Yeah, and I think Justin's rubbing off on him.
Yeah. Justin is showing off a new Steen's Frioli, right?
Yeah.
It's just another. It's
Something
just
he built.
another purple taco.
Well, what is the story of that? It's almost as if he just went and got
pretty
that like a
clean.
taco. Did he build that thing, or
Yeah, I think
is it
he
a new
did.
one?
I
It
think
looks
he
looks
did.
new.
Yeah,
I
it looks
think he
like a newer
redid it,
one, but
yeah.
I think it's pretty clean.
Nice
I like
job! It really, really nice job. It was as if he purchased it out of a showroom. Looks
For
really
sure.
nice because he's really more into the down dirty, gritty frames. You don't really see him with pretty bikes.
Yeah, he's got some good stuff, man.
Yeah. Well, him and Ed are gaining quite the friendship. Watching you guys go back and forth. I'm still, if anybody, I got a couple bikes here. Like as I said earlier, pretty much what I have here now. That's where I am. I may bring a few other little ones in. I've got a Powell out with Ed. I've got a bike with Jake, one or two. I've got one that Bob's finishing for me. So I've got a few more bikes. If I ever got rid of that Frioli, it would go to Justin. He made me an offer, but he made me like a Justin offer. You know how that...
Come on, Justin.
You know, so like I got to break his balls for like $60, right? So I got to hold out. Just a matter of principle. I should be charging him a premium. But I do like him. So I figured if that goes anywhere, that'll go to him. And this one minus the engine, if it went to anybody, it goes to Ian. We'll just let him in on the fact that the right handlebar is tweaked a little bit. And we had that bad day.
Deal with that.
Yeah, we can deal with that. So thanks for coming out. Brother
Appreciate it,
Eddie,
man.
thanks for coming out over there, too. Thanks for holding down the CB Minis. He rode down there. It's nice to have a riding partner.
For sure.
Especially going back.
Yeah. I want to say what's up to my mom. For
Yes.
sure. She's watching.
Your mom, what's your mom's first name? Is it
Roxanne.
Roxanne.
Yeah.
Hi, Roxanne.
Yeah, and my dad, of course, he's not feeling good. My nephew, Gavin. My brother, Eric. Colin. Saying what's up to all them.
Yeah, good.
Cool.
And we'll see more of you as we find our way with this show.
And my niece, Peyton. Don't want to forget her.
Yes. How could you forget her? She'd be pissed off at you for the rest of the
Yeah, I
summer.
know.
You've been buying dresses and taking her to. Well, you can't take her to Toys R Us now.
God.
They're gone.
I
God.
better not forget my nephew, Tyson, then. Might kick my
No.
ass. He's
But there is,
7 foot tall.
there's if you go to this, well, if you leave the suburbs, you can find the replacement for Toys R Us. That's Weeby Toys. That's located right off the 10 freeway there. All right. So it's Joe's Minibike Reunion podcast. We'll be back on. Is it the 25th?
Yes.
July 25th. We'll be back. It'll be Ed at the helm. It'll be Ed working in not only a host mode. He'll be securing the guest. He'll be setting the topics. I'll be riding along. I'll be in a little bit of
I'll
a
be the
sling.
security guard.
You'll be the secure. I'll play security. I'll whack you with that. I can't do anything with the right arm. Thanks for listening.
Good luck tomorrow, man.
Yes, thank you.
Good luck.
What am I going to do?
Good luck, Joe.
Yep. Hey, everybody, thank you very much. It's Joe's Minibike Reunion podcast brought to you by Pioneer. Thanks for the effort. I know it's been a little frustrating on that side, too. We'll edit this up. It'll be worth your while. If you did get a chance to catch the first or second half, great. If not, hey, that's how it is. It's called Podcast World, baby. Deal with it. Joe's Minibike Reunion podcast. See you the next time.
Joe's Minibike Show.